Well, hello everyone. This is Stefan. I have a very special guest with us this morning. If you haven't recognized him, this is Dr. Fred Cooper. He is the Chief Financial Officer at Ariix. He is known worldwide as the world foremost expert in the management of direct selling companies. His team is named as the Dream Team in Direct Selling for building and managing the most well-run publicly traded network marketing company on the New York Stock Exchange. I did that a couple of years ago. We've been working with that company for multiple years. They were operating under the thinnest margins in MLM, and you're going to understand why this makes sense in a minute. Basically, they know how to build companies. They know how to run a company that lasts, so that your income is secure with this team. Besides his fun and energetic personality, I have to tell you, we don't get bored, by the way, with Fred at events. We have a lot of fun. And he's a very caring individual. He always puts people first and wants your success. So he has a passion for compensation plans. When experts can't figure out the compensation plan, what they do is they go to basically Dr. Cooper, and he's basically able to identify, demystify all the little intricacies of compensation plans, and he finds the tricks, the little loopholes and things that no one really understands, and he's making it simple for everyone to understand. So before we begin, I want to thank you this morning for joining us, and I want to welcome you to this webinar, Dr. Cooper.
You know, Stefan, that was such a great introduction. It was almost worth getting up in the morning. Almost. It wasn't worth it, but it was close.
All right. Well, I hope, guys, you have pens, paper ready, because we've got a lot of great information to share with you this morning. And I have to tell you, I've been in MLM for over 20 years, and I've noticed that sometimes compensation plan like to play games with you. And I know, Dr. Cooper, you've got probably a little game to play with us, or some quiz or something for us this morning. So maybe I will just let you begin. So,
all right.
So should I go?
Well, thank you very much. And Stefan is right. The first thing you better make sure you have is a pen or a pencil and a little piece of scratch paper, because we're going to take a quiz this morning. And if you don't write down your answers, you'll do like all my students used to do at the university. Oh, that's what I wrote. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, I did get it right. But if you commit yourself to an answer by writing it down, you can really see how many of these you get wrong and how many of these questions that you get right. So right now I'm just going to ramble a minute. So if you got to go scramble and get a pen or a pencil, go do it, because you may find it's worth it. Stefan's right. I got into the direct selling industry because of the problems with compensation plans. In fact, USANA hired me and got me into direct selling longer than I care to admit. Let's go 20 years, Stefan, I don't know, a long time. And when I got into that, they hired me as a consultant to solve mathematically their compensation plan. They wanted me to tell them how much is the theoretical maximum that their comp plan could pay if everybody knew all the rules and all the ways to do it and put the volume in at the perfect times, in the perfect spots. What could their compensation plan pay out? They wanted to know what it was paying out right now, not because they didn't know, but they wanted to verify that I could indeed calculate how much the payout was. And they wanted to know how much it was going up each year and what it would continue. It's a kind of a fun little story, because I'm pretty good in mathematics, obviously. If I got a few degrees in that area, then I'm not bad at it. So when I got to them, I said, when I finally got the job, I take this project, and honestly, it was a math problem to me. So I was teaching math at the university, more specifically statistics and some calculus, and I thought, oh, this will be a piece of cake. And it was a number of years ago, but I said, I'm going to charge these guys, because they've got money, $10,000 to do this math problem. And I figured it would take, honestly, half a day. And so I thought, well, I'm charging them a lot of money, but you know what? They'd already told me that their accounting firm, Grant Thornton, couldn't solve it. They hired some, quote, experts on it, and no one could figure out their comp plan because it was one of the first binaries out there. So they said, one of my students who was in my MBA program that I was teaching said, my math teacher, man, he could solve this for you. So I show up, I tell him I'll do it for 10 grand, and these guys tell me, done, $10,000. And I remember walking out going, oh, I should have charged 20 for it. They wanted it really bad. I thought it was only going to take, honestly, half a day, and that includes doing the report and the filings. That project took me almost a week to do it. And the funny part is, while $10,000 back then for the week wasn't bad, it was the intellectual challenge that the binary created for solving it. Because it wasn't just about math, as I discovered. It was about how much they purchase, when they purchase, on a perfect multiple of their auto ship volume, etc. So I came in with the report, and there were 3 executives. They were the 3 vice presidents there. One was the owner's son, and 2 VPs there that I subsequently became good friends with. And when I sat down, the first thing I said, and I didn't mean it arrogant, but looking back, it probably came across very arrogant, because they said, did you solve it? I said, I looked at them with a little bit of a bewilderment. I was like, of course I solved it. I wouldn't be here if I didn't solve it. I called you to say it's done. And I said, I want to thank you for this problem. I said, I've done a lot of statistics and a lot of advanced PhD level statistics that most people would think were very difficult. I said, this one was a mathematical intellectual challenge. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. It was clever. And I remember the COO, he was a skeptic and he was very cynical. He looks at me before he answers and he said, okay, you got it right. I want to know what my payout is right now. And of course he knew it, and he wanted to see if I knew it. So I said, right now your payout is 39.75, give or take 0.02%. That's 0.0002. And I said it very, I like this guy, he's challenging me, right? So I said 0.002, give or take. Jeff looks at it and he said, how much is it going up every year? And they'd only been in business about 3 or 4 years. I said, the first year, it probably went up by as much as 30%. Subsequently, the marginal rate of increase is diminishing, and it will continue to increase at a rate of 0.75, 0.75% per year, give or take 0.04. And I can tell you why it creeps at 0.04. And they all look at each other, and they look at each other, and they have this look, right? And this look is like this. Sucky got it. And as soon as I saw that look, of course, then I was a little arrogant. I sat back and I just, come on, guys. I was just young. Oh, gosh, I was in my early 30s. I sit back, I look at him, I go, come on, guys. Fess it up, right? I'm right. You know it. It's bothering you. I'm right. They all started laughing. They go, okay, you're right. You caught our attention. Explain our compensation plan. So that was kind of the beginning of how I did compensation plans. And then subsequent to that, I have been asked to do many compensation plans for other direct selling companies. Don't worry, I got permission from my owner to kind of help them, and it was fun because I would literally go into some companies and tell them, if you don't change your compensation plan, you will go belly up because it pays more than 100%. In fact, in USANA's compensation plan, if it is done correctly, would pay more than 100% when I got it. And I showed them how to do it to make a more than 100% return on your money. So literally, you could put $100 in and get over $110 back. So subsequent to that, that's how I broke in, and now I've done compensation plans all over the world for individuals to design them. So when we did Ariix's compensation plan, Mark Wilson we came together to do Ariix, and he sat me down and he said, okay, Fred, I don't want any preconceived notions of what a compensation plan should be. You have done hundreds of these compensation plans. I can tell you payouts on any company, and if I've never seen them before, give me a few days, and I can tell you what the payout is going to be on their compensation plan as well. He said, I'm going to list all of the things on the left side that direct selling companies do to their reps that they hate. All the little gotchas, or as Tim Sales says, the little tripwires, since he's an explosive expert, that they're put into the compensation plan. All the ways they trick you into believing their plan is great, but then once they have you, there's nothing you can do. You've put all this time and effort into this company. It's not like you're willing to walk away, because a sunk cost in accounting, that is good money, is always spent after bad, because it's so hard to leave because of the investment that you've already put into that company. They kind of put the hooks in you, and then we call it the bait and switch. I can't tell you how many network marketing companies have started up, have paid out more than 60%. People are all excited because they're getting all of this money, and then as soon as the business starts to grow to a decent size in the organization, as soon as their company gets 10, 15, $20 million in sales, they change the comp plan. And of course they call it an enhancement. And then they change it again, calling it an enhancement, and again, until pretty soon they have whittled it down to a payout that is more manageable for a company. So I've seen all of these tricks. Mark set them down, and he said, I want to list all the things they hate, and then, Fred, I want you to list all the characteristics of compensation plans that you have seen out there that are phenomenal. Features that people love about their comp plan, and we want you to make a comp plan that eliminates all of those, the things that people hate, and it gives to reps all the things that they love. So we spent quite a bit of time designing what is the new compensation plan, the Activate compensation plan of Ariix. And the biggest thing that I want to say about our comp plan is the more you'll discover it, the more you will see that the words we say about caring about the field and are interested in the success of the field is manifested in a company's compensation plan. It is also manifested in the behavior and the enhancements they make to the compensation plan over time. When I was with USANA, there wasn't, I don't know, I don't want to speak perfectly, but I cannot think of a year the commission distributor incentive pay line did not go up relative to sales. And certainly it went up over my entire tenure with USANA, right? Now, subsequent to that, it has fallen for 3 years, yet they'll claim how much they love their field. I don't do this to just bag on USANA. It is a common practice in the industry, yet they'll talk about how their success of their field is so important. I could give you a list of companies that have published documents where their words say one thing and the actions say another. So as we go through this today, I want you to think in terms not only of, oh wow, I didn't realize there was so much compensation plans, but also remember the rules and the tripwires that are in place for good or for bad, I believe are a reflection of the company's true heart and desire to make their representatives successful. I really believe that. So we want to start out today with a little game. It's a little quiz I want you to do. One, so that I don't put you to sleep. And number two, I hope you have a little fun with it. I gave it to the head of our IT department, our CIO. Don't feel stupid. He missed 4 of them. And then he argued why he missed 4, and then he acknowledged, okay, I missed 4. So here are kind of the rules that I have for this quiz. Since I've been a professor so long, I've seen all the tricks, all right? First, number 1. Who's ever got my slide? Who's running my slide? Am I running my slide?
Yeah, your slides are on.
Who runs it?
Oh, it's on slide 1 where it says quiz time, no nos.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm not saying this well. I can see it on the screen, which means everyone can. I need the next click.
Oh, okay, sure.
Can I do that, or do you have to?
Unless I make you presenter and you open up your PowerPoint. Would you like to do that?
No, too much work. You do it.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is, you can't shut off your neighbor. If there's some of you that are together, you can't talk, look over, do nothing. This is for you to educate yourself on what you know. So no cheating honor system. Okay, number 2, you You can't talk about it, right? And say, what does he mean by that? The questions are very straightforward. The only reason you're going to want to talk about it is you don't understand what the correct answer is. And this test is very easy. They're all true, false. Number 3, you can't ask me any questions or put it on the chat board. You have to read it as it is, because so many times I have students come up and want to ask me the question to get the right answer. So no questions. And last but not least, no matter what you think the right answer is, you might as well pick the other side, because you're going to probably be guessing anyway. The toughest thing about being on this webinar, at least I can see Stefan. If he smiles, I know my joke went over really well. And if he doesn't smile, then I know my joke sucked, right? Okay. So here we go. Let's start out with question number 1 on Fred Cooper's quiz, right? This one's easy because everyone gets all nervous on a quiz. I should just tell you, one time I let in one of my statistics classes, the first question on my quiz was, very first question, what is the probability of getting ahead if you flip a coin one time with a heads and tails? I told them they can either answer that question or take the entire exam. But it's all or nothing, A or F. Do you know only one student did it because everybody else was so nervous with the final answer? They got scared and wouldn't do it. And the one student who did it was Mr. Flunky, who never came to class. He looked at it and said, well, I know that one, 50%, turned it back in, got his A. And everybody else in class was like, oh, it was so easy. So I started out with an easy one, make you feel good about yourself. So easy. Is 5 always bigger than 2? Is the number 5 always bigger than 2? Yes or no? True or false? Write it down. Okay, question number 2. All you got to do is write true or false. Ariix's commission, as you know, it pays up to $2,000 a week in the base commissions at 15% on each of the lines, excluding all of the bonuses that we pay. True or false? If I was Romper Room, I'd say, I hear you out there discussing it, or this is dumb, just write down your answers. Okay, question number 3. All right. There are many plans out there on their income position or their business center that pays more than Ariix. I have seen some of them pay $10,000. I've seen some that pay $25,000. I've seen one that paid $50,000 on a single income position. All right. So if you have a business center or an income position that pays $10,000 per week, and Ariix's, of course, pays $2,000 on your power line, on your pay line. I don't even know my own call. On your pay line, it stands to reason that the company that pays $10,000 therefore pays 5 times more than Ariix does at $2,000. True or false? Write it down. I'm using you, Stefan, as my gauge. So when you're done, I go to number 3. Okay. Number 3. Okay. Compensation plans, often you will hear them say this. We guarantee we will pay up to 50% payout to the field. Guarantee it. Is that a good thing? Yes or no? True or false? I think the statement says, I think it's a good thing. True or false?
All right.
Number 4.
Number 5.
I'm good with numbers. Number 5. All right. There are several types of pay plans. There's a binary, there's a unilevel, there's a matrix. Some people say there's a breakaway. A breakaway isn't a plan type. It is a feature of one of those plans, and it could be in any of those plans. Although I've never seen a breakaway in a binary, it's possible to put one in there. So one of those plan types pays more than the other plan types. True or false? Okay, question number 6. Okay, true or false? You don't earn commissions on your power line at Ariix. True or false? That was fast. Number 7.
And if you hear someone giggle, that's Arlene. She's just she's having a blast.
I'm glad she's not on mute, because I could hear her if she was trying to talk to someone else, and she's likely to cheat. So.
Well, no, I'd probably be shaking my head yes or no, because I'm doing that right now, and I'm glad I'm not on camera.
Oh yeah, that's good, Stefan. You're doing a nice job going. Do this. Okay. Question number 7 says, all right, we have 2 different types of compensation plans. One, this is called the PV ratio, by the way, the points to volume ratio. Most companies, although not all, tell you you've got to spend $100 and you get 80 points. Typically in Ariix, for what it's worth, you pay $100, you get 75 points, although it varies a little bit, as it does in most companies. Here is one plan. Plan A gives you 80 points for $100 spent. Plan B only gives you 70 points for the same $100 you spent. If that's the case, the plan that gives you 80 commissionable points pays out more than the plan that pays 70 points to the field. So 80 per 100 is better than 70 per 100 between 2 plan types. True or false?
Be careful, Stefan. You might give it
Yeah,
away.
I'm getting tricked. Like
No, that wasn't a no or a yes. That was a I have no idea.
Yeah, logically I would say 80, but we'll see.
Hey, what were my rules, Stefan?
Oh yeah. Oh no, just broke the rules again. Oh no.
Okay, question number 8. Oh, 2 plan types each claim 50% payout. We pay out plan A. We pay out 50% to the field. Plan B, we pay 50% out to the field. The 2 plan types, their payout is the same. True or false? Some of these are no-brainer people. Don't psych yourself out now, Stefan. Trust me, I put some in that are so simple you'll be like, I'm so nervous.
I didn't say anything.
Now, I want to say before you go to question 9, there's a reason for this as well. I am hoping more than anything, I really don't care about the answers that you're going to put, and we will go through them because I know you'll kill me if I don't give you the right answers. But this whole point is if you are starting to go, you know, I'm not really sure. I'm a little nervous. These seem so straightforward, but maybe that is my whole point of today's discussion. You might as well just hang up now. Don't be tricked by what people say or do or claim, because it's more complicated than you think. There are more details to it than you think. And sometimes it's a very straightforward answer, but sometimes it may not be. And the key there is I want you to all have confidence that all of these statements or claims, which ones are true, which ones are not, what key things to look for in your claims to know if you're being tricked or not. Okay, question number 9. Oh, okay, so on our roll-up on our pay lines, we pay 15% on each pay line. Another company boasts 30% payout. On their same pay line, Ariix would pay less. True or false?
Fred, you're so tricky.
I don't think they're so tricky.
And by the way, Fred, there's several people on this webinar right now that are not yet in Ariix. They're looking at that angle right now.
Why would you put them on this webinar and have them introduced to Ariix with me first? And now they're screwed. For those of you who did that, please don't judge Ariix by myself. Let's have you meet Mark Wilson. You'll see he's somebody who's kind and thoughtful, and he's not condescending. He's not tricky. You'll like him. So. Okay, last question, number 10 and final. Here we go. Oh, You always see everybody flashing their huge checks. Look how much money I made. Look how much money I made. That's a good thing in MLM. True or false? Okay, y'all done?
We're
Everybody nervous?
good. Let me just check if there's any question or any comment here.
Hey, there are no questions. What didn't you read on the rules?
Oh yeah, that's right. Again. Okay.
Seriously, Stefan, and you're Canadian, man. You should keep everything nice, proper, no troublemaking. Okay, let's go through the answers, shall we? Here we go. All right, first, question number 1 was easy, right? Is 5 always bigger than 2? The correct answer is false. Here is the perfect scenario in which 5 is not bigger than 2.
Okay, I think we're good.
Now, some of you should go, oh, that's low budget. But I'm telling you, this first one, this is how compensation plans do it all the time. They make you believe their number is bigger than another number. They will have in good conscience say, there's a situation in which 2 is bigger than 5. I didn't say anything that was a lie, but it certainly is misleading. I could spend all day giving you statements that are, in my opinions, lies. Because my definition of a lie is anything that is done with the intent to deceive. I believe the question number 1, is 5 always bigger than 2 as a number, is a deceptive question. I am intending for you to miss it. But I have my ethics still, because isn't 2 bigger than 5 in the example you see below? I didn't lie. This is done all the time in direct sales. And as you're going to find out as I go through some of these statements, it will kind of make you sick about what direct selling companies are doing, right? It drives me absolutely in orbit, because I feel like companies are taking advantage of people in their ignorance, and then boasting and claiming things that, okay, 2 is bigger than 5, but it doesn't have any value to you whatsoever. In fact, it was intended to mislead you. Okay, question number 2. Question number 2 states, one more click. Ariix pays up to $2,000 a week in base commissions. I have heard this complaint about our compensation plan 1,000,000 times. Guess what? It's not true. Ariix, that one also is false. Ariix pays up to $2,000 a week per line segment. Okay? So, it does not allow you to earn $2,000 on an income position or your business center or your spot in the tree. It allows you to earn up to $2,000 for every line you have in base commissions except your power line. And since you can have an infinite number of lines wide, and you can have an infinite number of line segments deep, because you're allowed multiple re-entries, i.e. to enter underneath yourself, there is absolutely no limit to how much you can earn on an income position or a business center at Ariix. So you may only earn up to $2,000 per line segment. And I've even heard people say you can only earn up to $2,000 per line. That's not true either. Because of the re-entry, it allows you to earn $2,000 on the line below the re-entry and $2,000 on the line segment between the re-entry and your income position. If it's not making sense and you're one of the guests, have them explain basics on the compensation plan. It is not a limit of $2,000 per week. If anyone tells you that, they either innocently do not know the compensation plan, or they are intentionally deceiving you, making you believe that the most you can make in Ariix is about $104,000 a year. which isn't true at all. They'll also tell you that means there's a bunch of volume you're not getting paid on. That also is an inaccurate statement that is intending to mislead. In fact, why don't I just always, whenever I say it's a statement intending to deceive, I'll just always end it with, yeah, and 5 is always bigger than 2, except in certain cases, right? All right, question number 3. On this one, if you recall, I asked you, a clan that pays $10,000 a week pays out 5 times more than Ariix's limit of 2. So other companies claim their business center, their income position, pays out $10,000. Specifically on this one, let's go with Mona V, for example, that pays out a lot more. Do you know I heard reps in that company walk around saying, because we pay 10, you pay 2, we pay out 5 times more than you. Okay, Ariix pays out 50% of all of the sales dollars they bring in. They pay out 50% in commissions. Half of it goes back. Half of it goes back to our field. Now, if half of our sales goes back to our field in the form of commissions, and another company pays 5 times more than us, 50% times 5 is 250%. That would mean their compensation plan would have to pay out 2.5 times all of the sales it brings in. And the company wouldn't last very long. The amount of money that you make on an income position is not the determining factor on how much a compensation plan pays out. And it's even worse than that. I told you in section number 2, there is an unlimited amount of earning potential in base commissions on our income position. Every time you add a pay line, you can earn 2,000 more. So if you had 5 pay lines, you would equal what a Mona V type plan, and today it's now Pick on Mona V Day. The next company's coming up with its turn. Believe me, they all get their turn. But you can earn an unlimited amount of base commissions in the Ariix comp plan. If there is a limit on a business center in a binary to 5,000 a week, or 10,000 a week, or 25, or even the 50,000 that I told you about, it still is a limit on pay more than Ariix pays. Because on Ariix, you can have unlimited lines wide and unlimited line segments deep. So it does not pay 5 times as much. In fact, it's not related to payout whatsoever. The question is absolutely false. And if it is stated, someone is trying to convince you that 2 is bigger than 5.
And does that money, I mean, that money goes somewhere, actually. There's someone who has one big line, and then they make more than others, don't they? Like,
Good question, Stefan. On that instance, actually, the larger the amount of any pay on an income position, or in our case, a line segment. If we would have moved our line segment from $2,000 maximum to $5,000 maximum, the increase in our compensation plan is about 0.5%, about 0.5% increase per 1,000. But here's the deal. The bigger that number is, the more the money goes all the way to the top. And think about it. I want you to think of it as a balloon with water in it. And it's kind of shaped like a hot dog. That's all the money there is in a compensation plan. Now, some balloons are bigger than others, some balloons are smaller, but there is still only so much a company can pay in commissions. You can squeeze the bottom of that balloon, and all the water pressure would go up to the top of the balloon. In other words, all the top people would earn all the money, but all the bottom people are being strangled. Or I could squish the top and the bottom of a comp plan, and it would poof out in the middle, meaning the middle range people make the money. Or I could squeeze it at the top, and it means a little bit would all go to the bottom people. You can make it happen any way you want. The larger a business center pays, the more you're squishing the business to the top. And it's a little psychologically worse than that. Not only are you pushing all that money to the top earners, they don't have to do much work for it. So if they don't have to do much work because they get a huge leader on their left and right side and their income just keeps going up to $50,000 a week, Guess what? They have no interest in helping anyone because they're already getting paid. And as it grows, it's up to $50,000 a week, and $2.5 million is enough for anybody to live on, right? And so guess what? There's no cooperation. There's no teamwork because the top people in the tree made all the money. That's why we tried to balance how much we paid per line segment. We like $100,000 is a decent amount of money for volume that grows large. But if you want more than that, build a second team and a third team and help more people to get your $50,000 a week.
Does that mean that leaders at Ariix will make less money?
No, because the amount that it's paid on an income position, again, is not related at all to how much a comp plan pays. It has nothing to do with it. It only helps determine who gets it. Where do I squeeze the money to? Not how much the comp plan pays. If I had a little tiny balloon that was only this big, a little water balloon that was this big, and then I squeezed it, it would give it all to the top. But the top wouldn't have very much water up there, would there? There wouldn't be very much money. If the pie is only this big, even if you take it all, it's a lot smaller than a pie that's this big and you take a piece like this.
I'd like to maybe at the end, because I don't want to cut the flow, but let's talk about that. Like because Ariix has more of balloon than other compensation plan. There's more money into the compensation plan than others. So
correct. And in fact, you're going to love me because that's coming up in one of the questions.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, Fred, you said something that I'd like to comment on, and that is the teamwork that this question
yes
makes it go. Because I know, you and I worked together in USANA for the last 10 years, and I had 5 business centers. And I had no one help me. I built my own business. No one reached down to me, and I felt like I was a stranger. And I've talked to many other people that feel that same way because I couldn't ever get that to balance correctly to where I could make the money that my upline was making. All my money was being cut off because I had a $5,000 limit on it, volume point. And so as a result, to get it to match so that I could get some money, I didn't. And it would cut me off. That tripwire was there to cut me off. And so as a result, I made Jeremy Stanfield thousands of dollars.
Yep. And that is why it is the #1 complaint against a binary. You have all this volume on one side where you worked as a team, but there's no motivation to get volume on the other side as a team because it washes after 5,000, so people hate the binary. And it's funny. It's not that the binary is a bad structure at all. It's the rules in a binary that make it really bad. So, and as we're going to see in another question coming up, we've accounted for that problem at Ariix, Arlene, so you don't necessarily have to have perfect balance on all your lines. Okay, question number 4.
Very good. I just want to read just a few things. These are not questions, but just some comments. So Kevin says, Fred is the man. Dr. Fred is tricking me. If you like honesty and integrity, this is the call to be on. Fred is amazing. Hungry for more. John Lindsay, what did you say there? I work with Canadians. They're all troublemakers. Tatiana says it's bigger in size but not numeric value. And then Greg says segments versus another line, advantages or disadvantages. He's asking a question here. So he says segments versus another line. So should you build below or on the side? What's the advantage, disadvantage?
Great question. I'm going to answer that. It depends. I will tell you how I do it. Some people hate binaries. They're so convinced a binary is bad. If you even suggest it, they go crazy. They're like, I can't do a binary. Okay, fine. Or they have preached that a binary is bad for so long they don't dare change their opinion. Build it wide like a unilevel. It's great. You can build it. We're the only compensation plan that allows you to build wide or deep infinitely. So guess what? We can merge entire companies of unilevels and binaries together and never break a parent-child relationship. Ariix is the only company, listen to me, only company in the industry that has a compensation plan that allows you to merge two companies with two different plan types, a unilevel and a binary, and not adjust any parent-child relationship. Because of that, the choice is yours. If you build wide, you will make more money faster because the average price per share in other bonuses for building wide is more than the average price per share of bonuses building deep. But that's only because a lot of people have come from binaries in Ariix and they're used to building deep. So everyone's building deep. If it were me building, I would do it two ways. One, I would build wide when I have a completely new team coming on board or a group that doesn't fit another group, either because of race, demographics, personalities. I would separate them on different lines because they'll just hate each other, and for some reason, if someone's in your downline and you hate them, you can't work with them, even though you don't have to. Welcome to MLM. If the teams are together, they're cohesive, they're in good proximity, or they're a good personality match, I would build deep. You may not make as much money quickly, but it's more efficient. It takes less volume building deep to make the same pay. So, choice is yours. Either way, both ways you can't miss, and both ways marginally pay you more and more for the same amount of work. In other words, you make $5 to do one line. To do the next line, you make $7. To do the next line, you make $10. To do the next line, you make $15. So we keep paying you more and more to do the same amount of work. Okay?
Perfect.
Okay, question number 4. A guarantee of up to 50% payout to the field is a good guarantee. False. I'm going to tell you why. The key word here, I want you to look for this in marketing for the rest of your life. Up to 50%. Any compensation plan in the industry that says we guarantee to pay up to 50% is not a guarantee they pay 50%. What it is stating, I'm going to now say it, it's marketing. It's like trying to buy a house and you go out on the market and your realtor says, this is a cozy little home. What they're really saying is this thing's tiny. But they don't want to say it that way because it sounds bad, right? This just needs a little TLC, just a little fixer-upper. That means it's a dump. It's been run down and dilapidated, and you're going to have a whole lot of work to fix that up. It's the same thing in our industry. Don't think it's not the same everywhere. But what they're saying in up to 50% is if the compensation plan pays less than 50%, we'll just pay you. But if the compensation plan pays more than 50%, we're going to shave it off so we keep it at 50%. It's really a clever way of saying we have a cap. And they have a cap because every compensation plan needs limits or it will pay out more than 100%. Right? If it pays out more than 60%, a company just can't stay in business. It's just too much to pay to the field and also be able to pay for the products and run the business. So, in order to make sure that a bonehead didn't program an MLM compensation plan that will pay out too much, they throw in the rule, we're going to put in a cap of 50%. Now here's why a cap is horrible. Remember how I just told you at Ariix we pay you $5 for one line, $7 for two, and $10 for three. Notice how every time the amount we pay for the next line not only is more, it marginally goes up. The second line paid $2 more, the third line paid $3 more, the fourth line will pay $5 more. Okay. In a cap, the opposite is true. When a cap hits a compensation plan, the more you work, the less you get paid for the same volume. Think about it. If the compensation plan goes from 50% to 55%, then the company will only pay you 50/55. Roughly, they will only pay you 90% of what your true check should be. And if they have squeezed the bottom so all the money goes to the top, coupled with a cap, these top leaders start to earn exponentially more and more and more and more money, but they can't because the cap kicks in and cuts them off, shaves off their income greater and greater and greater and greater, until guess what? They're earning 60% of what their volume should have been because they have a cap. And now here's the bait and switch. Here's the great bait and switch. But you're such a big leader. You've worked so many years to get there. You've made all that money. Where are you going to go? So they keep shaving and giving you a haircut, and you have no option but to take it. Up to 50% is a cap, and it's horrible. It's a poor designed compensation plan, and it is a protection in the company to prevent them from paying out more than they can afford. In this case, honestly, 2 is bigger than 5.
So how can you pay without a cap?
Because we have our limiting factors, i.e. $2,000 per line segment, which requires people to build down underneath it. And Ariix's limits on what it pays out are built in the function of the rules of our payout. If I paid out, for example, 20% on the roll-up instead of 15%, I would have had to have a cap, or Ariix would go out of business. If I put 10% in the roll-up, I'd have been a happy guy because I'd have made a lot more money as the owner, but all of you would have starved to death. So it's all a balance in how you calculate payouts and percentages to make sure that you will hit your target. And by the way, when I finished the compensation plan, I worked really closely with Ian, a gentleman who right now is serving for us in China. We predicted the payout, and we were within 0.5% of the actual payout of Ariix. And you don't appreciate that because you don't know how many psychological factors we had to estimate when we predicted people's behavior. And the great news is we never have to change the compensation plan because we do points and dollars, so I don't have to do any rule changes to the compensation plan in the event I did make a mistake. But after 3 years, it looks like there wasn't a foreseen mistake in our comp plan that I didn't catch. So that's how we afford to do it. We designed the plan correctly the first time. Okay, question number 5. One plan type, a unilevel binary matrix or the multi-line, pays out more than the others. If you put true, you missed it. It's false. I know you want to say the multi-line pays out more than the other types. The multi-line does not pay out more than the other types. What type of a comp plan it is has no bearing. Listen to me. Nothing to do with how much it pays out. Nothing. So if you hear some expert come up and say, I've got a unilevel, and unilevels pay more than a binary, he's either an idiot or he's lying to you. Plan type has nothing to do with payout. Say it again. Plan type has nothing to do with payout. Plan type has everything to do with how you build and which one gives you the greatest probability of residual and how many cross lines it creates. It has nothing to do with payout. I'll prove it. I'm going to do a multi-line, which you all thought pays out the most. The multi-line pays out 1/1,000,000% roll-up. 0.00001. Instead of 15%, forget that. We pay out less than 1% on the roll-up. Our bonuses aren't 2% of sales or 1% of sales. The bonuses are 1/1,000,000th of 1%. Oh, and you know the matching bonus? We don't pay 50% up to 7 generations. We pay 1% up to 7 generations. How much does my multi-line pay out? About 2% of sales.
Yeah, 2%.
This is the worst comp plan on the planet. They don't have anything to do with it. Payout is determined by the percentages paid and the rules within the structure. They have nothing to do with payout. I hear it all the time. It drives me crazy. Somebody says that, I'm just like, really? So you're a binary, so you pay more. Yeah. I said, oh my gosh. Okay. Next question. Never argue with a fool. People won't know the difference. 2 is bigger than 5. You notice on my plan type structure, here is the key deal. Unilevels allow you to build infinitely wide, but they limit how much you can build deep. Binaries limit how much you can build
Could you
wide.
Could you just explain real quick, when you say unilevel, what's a unilevel
Sure.
matrix? Just so
A
people
unilevel
can...
has your business center or your income position where you are in the tree here, and you're allowed to put as many people in your front line as you want. So you could have 40 people you sponsored, and you can put them below each other, or you can put them across from each other, but the pay will pay you on every single line you have going wide. And you can have as many lines as you want. But it only pays you so many levels deep. 5 levels, 7 levels, 3 levels, etc. It doesn't pay. If somebody comes into business 400 people below you, you make no money on them. Make sense?
Makes
The
sense.
binary is what everybody thinks of as a pyramid because it's shaped like an old Egyptian pyramid, but they don't have anything to do with each other. That's just the way people talk. The binary, you build 2, and then 2 goes to 4, and 4 goes to 8, 16, 32, and it goes like this. You only can have 2, or in some cases 4, 2, 3, or 4, you can build wide, but you'll get paid up to a certain level no matter how deep that person is in relation to where your position is. So that's why it goes unlimited in depth, but not limited in width. And finally, a matrix limits you wide and deep. Okay? Now here's the funny part. A matrix can be 3 by 3, which means you can build 3 wide or 3 deep. It can be 5 wide, 4 deep. It can be 7 wide, 9 deep. Pick it. It's whatever the person designs. Now here's the funny part. I always ask people, which is better? A matrix that is 3 wide and 3 deep, or a matrix that is 5 wide, 10 deep? Everybody wants to say 5 wide, 10 deep, because it's bigger. Yeah, and 2 is bigger than 5. No, if the comp plans are, everything else is the same, but the number of widths and depths, smaller is better, because you get all the pay only having to manage 3 lines instead of 5. And you get the full pay when you reach 3 levels deep instead of 10 levels deep. Hard to build an organization that has 10 levels compared to an organization that's only 3. So actually, smaller is better in a matrix. Yet I go out in the industry and I heard somebody one time saying, he was arguing on the phone, your matrix is only a 5 by 7. We're a 5 by 8. And I just, oh my gosh, really? Really? And the person kind of goes, oh, I guess that's right. No, that's not right. It's dead wrong. But the guy claimed that that somehow had something to do with pay and something to do with making his better. And in both instances, it was dead wrong. Okay? The multi-line is the only line that goes infinitely, click for me, infinitely wide and infinitely deep on both sides. So you can see it's the final pattern, and hence why we have a patented compensation plan, because we're the first one to create a plan type that allows you to build infinitely wide or infinitely deep based on your pleasure. And because of that, we put those two together, and if you'll click one more time, Stefan, you'll see it makes an absolutely cool logo. All right, let's move on. We're kind of getting close on time, so I don't want to go too much. Let's go to the next one.
Let's see.
Where are we? There's my logo, see? Question number 6. Ariix doesn't pay commissions on the power line. That's a lie, isn't it, Arlene?
Yes, it is. Very much so.
Very much so. In fact, base commissions, listen to me on this. Base commissions are one of the smallest forms of compensation for our top leaders. Why? Because our bonuses, i.e. the pay line bonus or the income position bonus, marginally increase. You get more and more and more shares exponentially every time you do another income position or optimize another pay line. Additionally, we have matching bonus on our power line. And matching bonus is the single biggest bonus for our top leaders. Pretty soon, I promise, if you're a leader of any size, matching bonus will dominate your paycheck. Base commissions will be the smallest portion of your paycheck, and that includes all other, not all other bonuses and matching bonus. So if somebody came to me and said, you don't pay base commissions, or you don't pay any commissions on your power line, I laugh and I go, no, that's true in a binary. It's not true in ours. We have matching bonus, and we pay a lot of money on the power line. The only reason we don't pay base commissions on the power line is because we would be a pyramid. Someone could make money by simply entering the organization, and since everybody has to place people at the bottom in the multi-line, guess what? A person who got in earlier would get base commissions for doing no work. And if you get paid for doing no work, it's a pyramid and you get shut down. So that's why you can't get paid unless you build at least one pay line. Okay, question number 7.
Okay.
A plan that gives 80 points for $100 rather than 70 points pays out more to the field in commissions. True or false? The answer is false. I think you're starting to see a pattern here in your answers, right? Just because if the plans were identical and one plan paid out 80 points per and one plan paid out 70, would there be a difference? Yes. If the plans were absolutely identical and there were no cap. But if there's a cap, depending on what that cap level is, it wouldn't matter how many points you get, because the cap would still be invoked early. Plus, Ariix pays out, let's do an example, 75 points per 100, but we pay 15% roll-up. What if another company paid out 80 points, but their roll-up was only 10%? 75-15 is better than 80-10. We could do the math for you, but I don't have all day. The point being, if someone is bragging that their PV ratio is better than Ariix's, you can say congratulations. You do wish Ariix would have more points, because the payout would go up, but compared to another plan, no, it doesn't have any comparison for which company pays more whatsoever. And now here's the great news. You're going to learn that Ariix's plan already beats the industry in payout. So let's go to question number 8, which you have a hunch is false. 2 plans that each claim 50% payout, pay out the same to the field is false. 2 is bigger than 5. 90% of all of the companies base their payout on points. Let me say that again. They base it on points. So on the example above, a company that pays out 50% on 80 points means for every 80 points that they have sold, they pay out 40. That's 50% of points. What they don't tell you is of points. Ariix pays out 50% of sales. So of the $100 that is spent, Ariix will always pay $50. What if the points drop to 20 points? Ariix is still paying $50. But if someone's claiming 50% of points, if the points drop to 20, they would only pay out $10 to the field. So for every other network marketing company, yes, their points matter because every time they adjust it, their payout falls in commissions they pay to their field. But in Ariix, we pay on sales dollars, so you can't be tricked whatsoever. And the whole reason people claim their 50% payout on points is for one reason. They typically pay between 38 and 42% of sales. Now, if you're paying out 38 to 42% and Ariix is paying out 50%, 25% more than our competitors, are you going to want to do a direct comparison? Are you going to want to say, hey, Ariix is paying out 50, we're paying out 42, but ours is better? No. You want to make the same claim that Ariix is going to make. So what do? You say, well, we pay out 50% as well. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I was sitting with the top Zango distributorship international, sitting down in a country. I won't tell you the country because they would know who he is because he's the top distributor. That gentleman stood there and told me that Zango's comp plan paid out 50% of sales. I looked at him and I said, do you want to bet dinner on it? He bet me dinner on it. Loser stiffed me because he was wrong. He stood there and defended his company that it was paying out 50%, it was paying out 50%, it was paying out 50%. I had him pinned down to, and you've been lied to and marketed to if they're paying out 50% of sales. He said, yes, absolutely. He finally pushed it, and guess what? 50% of sales was wrong. It was 50% of points, and he went hysterical. We pay out 50% of sales dollars, not points. And actually, we're paying out slightly higher than 50% right now, at anywhere from 50.2 to 50.7. Don't be tricked by the stupid claim that they say they pay out 50% to their field. It's usually said this way, 50% of commissionable volume. Ariix pays out anywhere from 25 to 40% more than our competitors. That means the little squishy ball is a lot bigger with Ariix than it is with our competitors. And it doesn't matter how big your competitors' sales are, if they pay a small percentage in commissions, your top earners and your little people don't make any money, and then they end up quitting the company. That's why it's so important, as Stefan said, that we run a very efficient company. If we're efficient and we're cost conscious, we have more money to be able to give back in the field in compensation, and perhaps as important, more money to put into exclusive, high-quality products that actually work. You don't have to sell a chiclet, a little piece of gum, for $1 million and claim that it's somehow going to get your teeth the whitest they've ever been. Our products work, they're efficacious, and they're protected in an exclusive industry for you to sell. Why? We're efficient in how we run a business.
Can you give numbers? Give examples, like, on which aspect of the business are you more efficient? Do you have comparable numbers?
If there's accountants out there, it's going to refer to SG&A. In this case, it is the sales general and administrative expenses. We do not have as much labor as most people do to get the same thing done. Our IT costs are anywhere from half to 1/3 as much as our competitors when we design our systems, both online and for the calculation of commissions. And finally, we don't buy empires like Taj Mahals and huge buildings that all cost money and time in power, electricity, utilities all over the world. And with those three items, with labor typically being 70% of the total expenditures of a company, you can make up 5 to 10% very quickly. In fact, at USANA, we had times where our SG&A, a line expense, was 18 to 19%, and our competitors were 32 to 34%.
Wow.
That's a lot difference in labor and a lot difference in expenses on how a company's run. That difference goes right to the bottom line, and in this case, it goes right to our commission payout and to our cost of goods sold for our products. Okay, question number 9. To the left. Ariix pays out 15% on a pay line, another company pays 30%. So Ariix pays less. Guess what? Here's a shocker. That's false. 2 is bigger than 5. If Ariix paid 30% as opposed to 15%, yes, it would pay more. But when you compare it to another compensation plan, it may or may not be true. I'll prove it. The other compensation plan has a cap of 20%. Well, if it has a cap of 20%, it doesn't matter how much more it pays on the roll-up. Guess what? It still pays less than Ariix. Now, before you think this is stupid and crazy, I'm going to give you a perfect example. MonaV came out with a compensation plan that was unbelievable in the industry because it allowed people to re-enter above themselves, and it got everybody excited until they realized the psychological impact that would have. But that notwithstanding, do you know there was a competitor that came in? I'm debating giving the name. I won't. I think it is just, I'm not going to give the name because I want to say how despicable it is. That competitor copied everything about MonaV's comp plan. Unabashedly, unashamed, copied MonaV's compensation plan completely. They did one difference. Instead of rolling 10% up like MonaV did, they rolled 15%. And they walked around saying, we pay out 50% more than MonaV. Oh, one little detail. They also had the same cap as MonaV, up to 50%. The only difference between the two compensation plans was in the company that competed against MonaV, they just shaved off more income faster. They all paid the exact same. The only reason they said 15% was to make it look like to their field they paid out more than MonaV. I said they were stupid. They should have said they paid out 20% and said they paid twice as much. People would have believed it, but guess what? It's completely a lie. They don't pay out any more. Both compensation plans pay out 50% because there's a cap. And oh, by the way, that's 50% of points, not sales dollars. You got screwed twice.
Which represents how much of sales approximately, do you know?
Both companies vary a little bit different on their point values, but it's a fair assessment at 80%. So they pay 50% of 80%.
Okay.
And half of 80 is 40% payout. Both companies pay out 40%. One looks like they pay a lot more. It's a complete lie. They both pay out 50% of points, and it's 40%, give or take. I have the exact numbers, but I'm ballparking it. I want to be fair to them. But it's about 40%, and we're paying out 50% of sales dollars, which puts us at about 25% more. Kind of makes you feel greasy, doesn't it, in this industry? You think everybody's on the up and up, and they stand up there. I could give you stories of people telling you how much we love you, we're doing this for your own good, and we're cutting $30 million out of commissions we're paying you. And because people trust them, they say, thank you so much. And I'm like, I cannot believe this. I'm going to throw up. You're taking money from people, and they're thanking you for it because they don't understand the ramifications of what you're really saying. It just infuriates me, but so be it.
Yeah, it's when you see your check going down and they're telling you how much they're doing for you, like we did.
Yes.
Like when we had the book sale, we saw the $1 million going out to sell a book, and I knew that was my money going out there that I'd never see.
Yep.
So if you took the same money you give to the field right now, would you make more profit in the previous company you were with USANA, or would you, as the owner, would you make more profit? Are you making more profit here?
Oh my gosh, not even close. I wish. My previous owner made more money in a year than he made for all his entire 14 executive senior staff for the entire decade plus they worked for him.
Wow.
In 1 year. I sure wish. Can you imagine if I could lower my comp plan 25% and that would mean 10, let's just go 10% lower. That's 10% of sales. We're going to do between $70 and $75 million this year. That would mean in my pocket, my portion, I don't own the whole company, of course, I've got my partners, but that would mean our partners would split $7.5 million more. And the worst is I'd come out and say, oh, the company's more profitable than it's ever been. Our profits are way up. You all should look at that and go, two's bigger than five. If your profits are way up, do you know what that means? It came from me.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So not only do you have great operational management team, but you also give more to the field from your own owner's pocket into the comp plan.
Yeah, it's got to go from somewhere. The profits either go to the company, in which case it goes to whoever owns it, and or it goes to the field. I mean, somebody's got to take the profits, or you charge everything and break even. And with all due respect, Stefan, you and Arlene and I aren't in this for no money. Mm-hmm. So now it's just a question of how much does everyone get? How much is fair for the company to get? How much is fair for the reps to get? And we believe it is a disproportionate amount going to owners. And if you doubt me, take a look at not just public traded companies, privately held companies, see how much their net worth is, and then go look at what their top earners in their company are worth. You'll find most of the top leaders live too high, too large, on the hog, and don't have a whole lot of money to show for it. Notwithstanding their poor financial choices, I'll bet you the owners live the same high on the hog lifestyle, and for some reason, they can't spend everything they make. Why? I believe, as do my partners, there is a disproportionate amount of money going from the field and from the owners. Bottom line.
Absolutely.
Question number 10, the last one. We're a little over time, sorry.
That's okay.
Last one.
You should just look at the attendees view, and we're at 99% attendance since the beginning. So looks like you're a crazy job.
Nobody's leaving. This is wonderful.
Okay, well, then we got one more. We're set. And again, this last question is false. It is great to show huge checks in an MLM. One, I don't like showing huge checks because I believe, one, it sets the wrong expectations. That this business is a get-rich-quick thing. It's not. It's going to be a business just like any other business that takes hard work and time. Can you make big checks? Of course you can make big money. But I don't like the misperception that we're giving to people that they get rich quick overnight in an MLM company. But there's one other reason that I have it on this test today, and that is this. Remember, there's only so much water in that balloon that you can squish. There's only so much of a pie to go around. Now, if Ariix is paying out 25% more than our competitors, but on top of that, the competitors are a smaller piece of pie, but their top leaders are claiming bigger checks. What that really says is they're taking a bigger portion of the pie. That means very few make any money. And the money they make is very, very small. Or it takes a long time for them to even make any money. Do you know some comp plans require anywhere from 13 to 26 people to earn enough in commissions to pay for your auto delivery? 26 people in your downline. You know why? All the money went to the top end. They had a $50,000 maximum business income position center. All their bonuses were designed to pay towards the top end. And they have a big check earner. For example, in Organo Gold, walking around, he is the biggest check earner in all of MLM. He makes all this money. He's huge. And I want to say, I pay out almost 30% more than Organo Gold. And if you've got one leader making that much money, there's nothing left for the little people. And there's not. And that's why Organo Gold's compensation plan, in my opinion, will never be a lasting compensation because everybody else is starving to death while one person is parading a huge check. So while everybody else goes, oh, that's the compensation plan I want to have because look how much money you can make, I look at it just the opposite. I view it as somebody served him a piece of pie, he walked up and took 95% of it and then showed everybody, look how much pie I took. And he left very little for everybody else. So big checks are often an indication that a compensation plan doesn't pay fair to all of the people, and they hide it under the marketing guise of you can hit the lottery also. Well, that's why I don't like parading huge checks in MLM.
Yeah, Fred, there's another thing of that too, because I've been reading about Visalis, and they have that. They do a lot of the big check thing, and so as a result, they're being investigated, and they got lawsuits against them right now, indicating that they have done that. The big checks are a red flag to the FCA that there's something fishy going on. Something's not right.
You're exactly right. In fact, it is the SEC will come in and claim that you are parading it around as a business investment, that you'll make this money, and hence you need an income statement disclosure that shows that these people are not typical earners, and here is what a typical earner makes. So you're exactly right. Even from a regulatory standpoint, they can't stand it, and people do it anyway to market and hype their compensation plan. Drives me crazy. And there you have it. So here's the final results. Go down your quiz. Everywhere you put true, you missed it. All 10 answers are false. And I want you to know, in this whole world, most of what you hear with claims of compensation plans are false. That's why Mark always offers debates and open forums, and we would love everyone to publish exactly what their payout is. The unfortunate part is the only companies that are required to do that are direct selling companies. And even then, they don't publish it directly. They disguise it under distributor incentives. Getaway destination incentives are all lumped in together, etc. So they try to combine it to make that number look as good as possible. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it too if I was in the industry. It's just nice of me to call them out when I know our compensation plan pays out more than the rest, because I have the unique ability to be able to calculate them to demonstrate proof positive. We pay more than our competitors.
Yeah,
So,
but
you leave with that whole thing. Everything I hear is false except what Ariix tells me.
yeah, when I think of how much money that I did not get paid because I didn't have a matching bonus, I almost turn over and...
That's a lot of money to you.
A lot of money. As you said, the matching bonus takes over.
Yep.
So with this being said, I will just read the 4 last comments I received here. And so there's a John Lindsay who makes a comment about the products. And before I tell that, the average weight loss on one of our brands, the weight loss brand, is 13 to 16 pounds. Am I right?
Yes.
Dr. Cooper, I think it is. And so John, in his case, he just beat all of that. He's at over 100 pounds right now.
Oh, my gosh.
So he says, I'm a living proof that products work.
That is, congratulations.
Yeah. So then Tatiana says, I'm glued. So she's on the screen, just glued. We have Gilberto who says, this is an eye-opener for me. I got 6 wrong. That's a fail. But he says, but I passed because I got up early to listen to Dr. Cooper. And Greg says, Ariix invests in and builds people. Thank you for caring. And John Lindsay says, 115 pounds. He's down now. So that's just amazing. Sandra, incredible presentation. Fred, thanks. So awesome. Thank you for coming on this morning. It's great. I know we had you wake up early, but you know, everybody is still here, and so we're getting a great attendance. People love this stuff. It just goes out to show that Ariix preaches integrity. They preaches Bill of Rights. They preaches respect. And from every angle that I've looked at over the past 3 years in this company, the way the owners treat you, the way the compensation plan is designed, the openness around product, around comp plan, around everything, like the training, everything is there. We're just so proud that you've put this company together. It feels great to be with you, Fred. I just can't thank you enough, because there's so much greatness that happens out of this company. We just want to thank you for everything, and it's a pleasure working with you, and I hope those who are not yet in the company, hope you join us. Just get back to the person who referred you here, and those who are on board, let's kick this thing. We're going to have a great time in the next couple of years and celebrate together. So thank you again, Fred, for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fred. I know the sacrifice you've made, and I just echo everything that Stefan has said, because you were brave enough to make a company that really does what it says. And so thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for being a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.